The Detroit Lions had a massive day on the offense side of the football, and today I want to break down the offensive line against the Green Bay Packers front seven. I would make the argument the Packers have one of the best front sevens in the NFL. They have a ton of good defensive linemen. They have some good linebackers, and the Detroit Lions had a ton of success as well. So today we're going to break down some of these plays, really get into some of the big plays that they had on the offensive side of the football. And we're going to go ahead and start with this 13-yard run right here by David Montgomery. Just a really nicely designed play. Now, I remember watching this game live last night, and the broadcast crew kind of pointed it out, saying that this play right here was 100% created by the running back. The running back broke some tackles, and he did something. And don't get me wrong, David Montgomery does a really nice job being able to read the gaps and read the angles, and he's able to make those cuts and hit this for 14 yards on 2nd and 10. But truth be told, the offensive linemen do a really nice job up front. So you're going to have a power run on this one where the right guard's going to pull. You'll also get the tight end to loop around, and he's going to essentially lead block. This is one of the new ways that teams are running power run concepts. And the reason why they're doing it this way is because by putting two tight ends into the game, you don't really know as a defense what side is the strong side. As opposed to if you put a fullback into the game and you remove a tight end, well then the strong side is going to be over here to the left. So the new way to run power is by pulling your guard and then looping that tight end around as well to lead block essentially. So essentially a power run towards the left. Right guard's going to pull. Everybody else is essentially going to block down. And it's nicely executed up front. Like every single one of these guys gets to their guys. And to me, this is one of the things with the Detroit Lions. They're a very well-oiled machine at this point. The offensive guys up front do such a great job with the blocks. You can see the double team block by the left tackle, left guard on the defensive tackle here. They're going to wash the three technique down. And on that double team, they're going to end up washing it down. And then they're going to get up to the backside safety or the backside linebacker, the pursuit player. In this case, it ends up being a safety. At the same time, if you guys keep an eye on the tight end here, the tight end's going to force the defensive end to stay wide before he releases to the inside linebacker. You're going to force that. You're going to come downhill, and you're going to pick off the linebacker. At the same time, Sam Laporta, who's the tight end that's ultimately going to be lead blocking, is going to end up getting up there as well. And between the two tight ends, they're going to do a really good job on those linebackers. You can tell the linebackers are essentially forced to the inside by both of these guys. Laporta doesn't do a great job sticking to Quay Walker here, but he takes the outside angle, which forces Walker back to the inside. And the running back with that vision sees that, right? And David Montgomery here is going to actually hit this to the left side. And because of those blocks right there, he ends up getting that lane. He ends up getting that gap. And everybody else on the front side do a really, really nice job. And just like that, you're going to pick up 13 yards. Even the block downfield here by the wide receiver. Even this block and the angle that he takes on the defensive back is perfect, right? Because David Montgomery out in space and he's able to hit this. Just a really nicely executed play. Let's go ahead and get to the next snap. You're going to get a 3rd and 3 on this play, and Ben Johnson's going to design a very, very nice concept. Essentially, you're going to have a spacings underneath, and then you're going to have a deep dagger concept on top of that. It's just a really nicely executed play, and of course, Jared Goff delivers the pass. But look at the offensive linemen really hold up on this one. Look at how much time they're going to give Jared Goff, and the guy's going to end up going untouched. I think we're at the point where the Detroit Lions offensive line is one of the top 2 units, and I know some people have questioned that a little bit, especially with the injuries that the Lions have had. But to me, this unit has done a really good job this season. You're going to see the guys on the inside process the defensive line game. You're going to get a 3-on-2 situation. You'll get a chip with the left tackle by the tight end. And then Penei Sewell, as always, is going to be expected to be one-on-one, regardless of who's out there. So it's double teams across the board minus the right tackle, but they still do a nice job being able to process that game on the inside. Right guard, center, left guard, they're going to swap it. The right guard's going to make sure the center has enough help. And then he's going to actually come off of that release, and then he's going to help Penei Sewell just to try to put someone down. In this case, it does actually end up helping. Sewell does, late in this play, give up a little bit towards the inside. But generally speaking, the offensive line does a really nice job. I mean, look at how much time the quarterback has within this play. This deep concept that's designed, right, the dagger concept, it's not open until the receiver hits it where exactly he gets to, right? The passing lane is not open on this play. Jared Goff can't just throw this ball right now. Regardless if the wide receiver is going to end up being open here, you got to wait for that passing lane to develop, right? You can't throw this right now. There's linebackers underneath this. And without that time by the offensive line, this play doesn't work. But when that passing lane is opened up, you're going to see Jared Goff do a really nice job being able to deliver this pass to Williams. This one's going to pop for 28 yards. 3rd and 3, just a really, really good job by the guys up front. Great read, great design as well. But of course, by the offensive coordinator. To me, one of the things I really like with the Detroit Lions is these guys are not scared to run the football on 3rd and 3 or 3rd and 4, right? A lot of teams in the NFL are not willing to run the football on those down and distances. But the Detroit Lions are, right? And I think it's just one of those things that you trust that offensive line, you trust that unit up front. At the same time, you have two really, really good running backs. This one was 3rd and 4, and you're going to run inside zone. It's just a really good job by the offensive guys up front to be able to process and handle this. Watch Frank Ragnow on this one. He's going to do a really nice job being able to process what's happening up front. Even though he has Quay Walker, you're going to see Quay Walker hesitate a little bit. And Frank Ragnow is going to do a really nice job helping the left guard in that split moment. People don't recognize how fast and quick of a processor you have to be. How fast your mind has to work to be able to process this, right? So the center has number 7. And 7 going to scrape to the left just a little bit. He's probably dropping into some sort of pass coverage. As soon as the ball gets snapped, 7's going to go to the left. And look how quickly 77 recognizes this. And he's going to end up helping that left guard. I mean, to me, it's just a great job being able to hold that. And this block right here is what's going to allow this lane to ultimately hit. And how you're going to be able to pick up 5 yards on 3rd and 4. Just a really, really good job by the center to be able to help. And then, of course, he ends up getting up to Quay Walker at the end of this. Beautiful job. Love the fact they're willing to run the ball on 3rd down. It just shows the confidence of this offensive scheme. Now, I want to take a second just to give some credit to David Montgomery, the running back, because I think he's one of the guys that's severely underrated. I know a lot of Lions fans understand how good of a football player he is, but I feel like the general media does not understand the type of running back this guy is. I think it's one of those things when people recognize that the Detroit Lions have such a great offensive line, and then they kind of overlook how great of a running back duo that this team has. Of course, Gibbs gets a lot of credit, but I feel like Montgomery doesn't. So I want to just take a second to show you guys how insane this play right here is. Now, it only picks up 9 yards, right? It's 1st and 10, 9-yard gain. But think about everything David Montgomery has to read, right? Mentally, everything that he goes through within this one play. Think about the footwork and the quickness that happens within this play. Think about this. So this is a split zone concept. The center here is going to reach to the left. He's going to take on number 94. Number 94 is one of those guys that penetrates gaps. So as soon as David Montgomery is going to actually get the football here, number 94 has penetrated the gap. Now, keep in mind, Montgomery's aiming to the inside hip of that left guard. So because of the fact that the center ends up giving up some push here, which isn't a big deal, it's a normal part of zone runs, Montgomery has to cut this back towards the right. So look at the feet to cut back to the right, right? Look at that quick jump cut that he essentially makes within this play. But it's not just this first one. He's going to then hit another jump cut because the linebacker is going to set up to the right here. So he's going to take a second jump cut. Safety flashes. He's going to take a third jump cut to the outside. Then the cornerback sets the edge. He's going to take a fourth jump cut back to the inside. And with all those different cuts, with all that different movement, you're going to pick up 9 yards. Think about how ridiculous this play is, you know, and we're watching it in slow motion, but in real time, it's just crazy how quick David Montgomery is with the footwork. Like, this guy's a legit solid-ass running back when it comes to running in between the tackles. Oh, and by the way, he also is a really, really, really good running back when it comes to pass pro. He does a really good job being able to see the different blitzes. As you'll see in this one, phenomenal job being able to take on this blitzing linebacker. Makes really good contact with him and essentially shuts it down. All right, David Montgomery to me is very, very underrated. So I just wanted to give him a little bit of credit because I think he is one of those guys that's a little overlooked. And I almost feel like he's like the guy that does so much for this offense that oftentimes is going to go underrated. Right? David Montgomery is one of those guys that this offense features a ton. And obviously, I know Lions fans understand that, but I feel like generally speaking, a lot of people don't really recognize that, right? So I just wanted to give him a little bit of credit. Let's go ahead and switch focus. I want to show you guys a couple more big plays that the Detroit Lions had yesterday. Now, before we go forward, I want to just take a second to give a big shout out to the sponsor of this channel because this content would not be possible without Underdog. If you guys have never utilized Underdog before, trust me, man, you guys are missing out. I don't do traditional fantasy sports that often. I did do one league this year, but generally speaking, I'm not really doing it anymore. And that's mostly because of Underdog. Underdog has this game that I really, really enjoy. It's called Pick'em. Essentially, you're going to go out there and just make picks that you think are going to be right. They'll have pretty much every pick you can think of for every player, and they have multiple categories as well. So an example would be, you know, I think Aiden O'Connell is going to throw for 125 yards. And you're essentially just going to pick higher on that, right? I think he'll have more than 125 yards. You might say, hey, Dak Prescott's going to have at least 2 touchdowns. I'll pick higher on that. You might say Caleb Williams is going to have a rushing touchdown. And some of those stats also give you multipliers, right? So
Usually for quarterbacks rushing it in, right? That's something most quarterbacks aren't doing every single week. You'll get like a 4x multiplier on that. So depending on the multiplier, depending on how many picks, you can turn $5 into $400, $1,000, right? Whatever it ends up being. Obviously, it depends on the multiplier, but Underdog to me is one of those places that I pretty much do every single week at this point. Very fun. It makes like watching the Jets and the Dolphins without Tua makes them interesting, right? So check out Underdog. If you guys have never used them before, it is the best place. Trust me when I say that. Go to underdogfantasy.com, use my promo code that you guys see on the screen, or use the app. I recommend the app. So let's get right back into the content.
Alrighty, guys, check this play out. You're going to get a 2nd and 1 20-yard run by Gibbs. It's nicely blocked and executed. It's a great call and a great moment. This play right here is referred to crunch, and essentially it's just the type of block that happens. The Detroit Lions run this pretty much every single week. But in the NFL, not many teams run this concept. It's a very, very difficult play to execute properly. And if you have a guy that's quick enough, he might just end up making this play before the ball actually ends up getting snapped. Right? So teams don't really run it. But if you're able to block it and guys get to the spot and it's blocked properly, I mean, the play hits. Because it's one of those concepts that confuses the defensive linemen and the linebackers especially, because the linebackers don't really know where the football's going. The linebackers, generally speaking, read through the offensive linemen to the running backs. And in this instance, if you keep an eye here on the center, as well as the left tackle and right tackle, notice how those guys are all blocking to the right, but the two guards, the right guard, left guard, are going to end up blocking this to the left. And the same thing with the tight end. The tight end also blocks this to the left. So half the offensive linemen go to the right, the other half go to the left, right? It's called crunch, a very, very nicely designed play. The key block, of course, is going to be on the guy here that's going to penetrate this gap. That's going to be made here by Sam Laporta, who's going to basically blindside block this guy. You're going to run it right off of him. So keep an eye here on the tight end. Really nice job to be able to get to this guy. And you'll also see that the blocks by the center and right tackle are also very important. I think the center probably makes the best block within this. Of course, one of the best centers in the NFL. Look at how he's going to reach and get to this linebacker, and then look at the angle. Look at how he positions his butt. I mean, that's perfect. This right here is such a great block. And the thing is this play works because these linebackers are going to be confused, right? They're not really sure where this play is going. Is it going to the left? Is it going to the right? They're not really sure. You can even look at this linebacker that's going to get picked off here by the center. Look at him tell Quay Walker that the play is going to the left of your screen. Look at him pick his right arm up. Right, he's saying right now, go to the left. The play's going to hit to the left. And little does he realize this is crunch. And he's going to end up getting reached. So that's just a really good job right there. Of course, best tackle in the NFL, Penei Sewell, is going to block out. He's going to set himself up perfectly. Force that guy to go underneath it. And the running back's going to read it and pick up 20 yards. Just like that. Just a really, really nicely executed play. Alrighty, guys. You got the 4th and 1 play here that basically ended the game. You're going to get a 7-yard run by David Montgomery. You got to give credit here to the best tackle in the NFL in Penei Sewell, specifically for what he does within this play. Now, it's a 7-yard run. You only needed 1, but 7's better than 1. And Penei Sewell is the guy that really sets this play up. It's just a really nicely designed play. It's super simple, super basic power football. And you're going to see Penei Sewell here just be an absolute force, man. Look at this. Double team helps the guard. As soon as he helps the guard, he's going to climb up to the linebacker. And he's going to get there as well. And you see that lane just straight up open right underneath that. It does not get better than this right here. Just a phenomenal job by Penei Sewell to be able to double, climb. And then even the guys on the right side of your screen here. You got 2 tight ends as well as the wide receiver, Patrick. Patrick's going to set up to the inside, which is perfect. You're going to see the tight ends end up setting to the inside as well. You just see that crease open right there. Just a really nicely designed and executed play. To me, the Detroit Lions have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. They have one of the best running back duos. They obviously have the best offensive coach in the NFL right now, and they have the best offense, generally speaking, right now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, consider subscribing. We are obviously going to be covering the Detroit Lions as we kind of go forward, as we get into the playoffs. We'll be checking in on some of the other guys as well on this roster. We'll be doing individualized film breakdowns. If that's something you guys are interested in, make sure you guys subscribe, and I will see you guys next time with another video.